Okay, I want to thank Spirit Child for that introduction, and you all should give yourselves a hand for being here. No, go ahead. Give it up for yourself. Because this is important. Look, we formed the October 22nd Coalition to stop police brutality, repression, and the criminalization of a generation in 1996. We did it because there was a nationwide epidemic of police brutality, police murder, because our children were being treated like criminals, guilty until proven innocent, if they could survive to prove their innocence, and because there was horrific repression being brought down on people who stood up and opposed that. That was 23 years ago when we formed this coalition and initiated this National Day of Protest. 23 years later, all of that shit is still going down. That is why we need to stand up and resist this. You know, because people told us, well, can't you just get a reform? Can't we just get better training for the police? Can't we just get a black police chief? Can't we get more black politicians? Won't that take care of us for it? Care of it for us? Let's see.
Been there, done that.
We got a black police chief, a black mayor, and a black president. The police still continue to brutalize and murder people. And I will tell you why they still continue to murder and brutalize people. Because that is built into the framework of this goddamn capitalist imperialist system. And unless and until we get rid of that system through revolution, it will continue to go down. The police ain't there to protect and serve the people. The police protect and serve the system that rules over the people. That's why there's so many faces on those posters that people are holding. That's why there's so many names in the Stolen Lives book and on the Stolen Lives website. That's why murdering pigs almost never go to jail. Because they doing their job. They're terrorizing the people that this system wants to hold down. But we gotta refuse to accept that. We gotta stand up and resist and dig into why it happened and what we need to solve it. And what I told you is the goddamn truth. We need a revolution. We gotta get rid of this system. And look, we are working to bring forward a movement for an actual revolution. I was on a tour with some of these younger people here in this t-shirt. We went across the country and we're still going. We call it the Get Organized for an Actual Revolution tour. We're taking the message of getting organized for a revolution as soon as possible all across the country, because that's what's needed to stop this. And if you are really for revolution, there's another thing that you have to understand you gotta do. And that is, we gotta get rid of this fascist Trump-Pence regime.
Yeah.
Because look, Trump did not start the police brutalizing and murdering people. That predated him. But he is escalating it. He is cheerleading for brutal murdering cops. He is cheerleading for police who work with prosecutors to frame up black and brown people. Remember that this motherfucker still says the Central Park 5 should still be in prison.
Yeah.
Even though evidence has shown that they were framed up, that the pigs and the prosecutors knew they hadn't done it from the beginning and still sent them to jail. But Trump says, well, I don't care about that. They still should be in jail. That tells you something about this man. We got to get rid of him because, look, some people will say, well, Carl, I ain't for revolution. I'm not sure about that. So why are you telling me I need to get revolution? Well, if you want to do anything good in this society, if you want to make some positive reforms and incremental change, if they're going in a good direction, it ain't going to happen with power in the hands of the fascist Trump-Pence regime. You want to do something around the environment, well, his regime says climate change is a hoax. You want to do something about women's rights being taken away, like the right to abortion and birth control. Well, he's going around saying, hey, I can grab women by the pussy and do anything I want with them. You want to do anything positive for immigrants, this man is saying put them in concentration camps. You want to do something about the Haitians and the situation they're in, he's saying send them back to their shithole countries. This regime bodes no good and a catastrophe for humanity. It must be driven out. And that's why I was part of launching the Out Now movement to say Trump and Pence must go now. And let me be clear on one other thing. Emma's going to speak more on this later, but let me be clear on this. When I say drive out the Trump-Pence regime, I ain't saying it because I want to see some Democrats going in there and taking over things. Because the Democrats, like the Republicans, are a ruling class party that is working to keep this capitalist imperialist system in effect and all the horrors it brings down on people. They have a fight at the top over what's the best way to do that. None of them represent our interests, but we have to be in the streets representing and working for our own interests, and ultimately that's got to come down to making revolution and getting rid of the system. But to be able to do that, we cannot let fascism be installed. Folks in Germany in the 1930s thought that Hitler was a stumble bum, that after him they'd be able to take over and do something good. And he crushed all of his opposition. This fascist Trump-Pence regime is aiming to do the same thing. And we cannot let that go down. So let me leave you with three things. The first thing is we have to stop police brutality, repression, and the criminalization of a generation. And however you come at that, we have to stand together to struggle against that. The second thing is dig deeper. Look at what's the source of this problem and what it's really going to take to get rid of it. And if you do that, what you will discover is that we need a revolution. We've got leadership for this revolution, and Bob Avakian, the leader of the Revolutionary Communist Party. You got to check him out. Come up and talk to me about it after I step down and hand this mic over. And then the third thing is we got to drive this fascist Trump-Pence regime from office before it is able to consolidate its rule and enforce catastrophic terrors over and above the ones that he's already enforced on humanity. Thank you, sisters and brothers.